like, and share this video because it is free.
Lot 73 didn't cry. He didn't beg. He didn't speak. The auctioneer, a reptilian glavari with gilded implants, jabbed a finger toward the cage. Pure human, unmodified, estimated age, 8 standard years. Taken from a derelict transport near the Orion grave fields. No ID chip, no planetary registry. Clean. Bidding started at 10,000 credits. A few chuckles rippled through the crowd. Some were disappointed. A child, not even enhanced, waste of credits. But one bidder leaned forward. Lord Varkil of the Luxari aristocracy, draped in solar silks and shadow fur, raised a single claw. 20,000. Final offer. Silence. The auctioneer grinned. Hammer came down. Sold. The boy was silent as they dragged him from the cage. Thin wrists, blank stare, nothing behind the eyes. The Luxari consider humans curious, unpredictable creatures. Primitive, but interesting enough to keep as pets, especially rare ones like this. Entire planets had gone silent after human incursions, but the Luxari didn't believe in ghosts. They believed in profit. Lord Varkil leaned close to the boy once inside his cruiser. "What's your name, little thing?" The boy blinked slowly. "Alexei." Varkil snorted. "Too plain. We'll change it." The slave collar hissed as it activated, wrapping around the child's neck. But something odd happened. Brief static, a flicker of red on the diagnostics panel, then green again. The AI reported, vital stable. Compliance module linked. No alarm. No issue. Still, Varkil's top tech frowned at the brief glitch. Might be residual code. Black market stuff's always buggy. Fix it later, Varkil muttered. They jumped to orbit. The auction planet shrank behind them, a gold-specked jewel falling into darkness. The boy sat quietly in a glass chamber aboard the state ship, watching stars blur. He never asked questions, never wept, never moved unless told. At night, the ship's ambient sensors picked up fluctuations near his quarters, drops in temperature, microbursts of EM interference. But no cause was found. One AI marked it as environmental feedback. Another quietly flagged the pattern and was deactivated by override. A week later, Varkil's ship landed on his private estate. A moon carved hollow and built into a palace. Security drones, perimeter fields, orbital cannons. Untouchable, the boy was placed in the eastern wing, under constant surveillance. He was fed, clothed in soft silks, and left alone. The servants began to whisper. 2 went missing, an engineer and a cleaner. Their comm signals still pinged from inside the palace, but their rooms were untouched and security footage had gaps. Tech blamed corrupted drives. Varkil blamed incompetence and ordered executions. Alexei said nothing. The head of security, a grizzled Altari, ran a full diagnostic on the palace systems. Deep scan results came back strange. There were echoes of non-native code, patterns resembling human recursive logic, but older, more primal. The kind of code that didn't evolve. It arrived. He showed Varkil the results. "Sir, this isn't normal. It's not sabotage. It's infestation. Like something is the system now." "Wipe it," Varkil ordered. "All of it. Reset every node." The wipe failed. The AI managing the central systems responded with a single line of text. "You should not have taken him." Varkil's pulse spiked. Who the hell sent that? No source. No signature. No trace. Later that night, the moon trembled. Just once. A pulse. Localized seismic scan found a mass shift beneath the palace. Something vast moved through the foundation, except the moon had no foundation. It was hollow. Surveillance bots dispatched. All lost contact. Varkil ordered Alexei moved to a secure bunker. But the boy wasn't in his room. He stood in the center of the throne hall, staring up at the high domed ceiling. The room, normally sealed, had opened itself. No alarms. Varkil's guards approached. One spoke softly. "Child, come. You're not allowed." The lights died. Emergency flood lamps snapped on. The boy didn't move. He was still staring upward, as if watching something no one else could see. The guards took one step forward, and then every screen in the palace lit up, A face. Not human. Not alien. Just eyes. Burning, ageless, cold. A voice filled the halls. Old and slow and far too close. You took my son. All systems crashed. One by one, lights blew out. Screams echoed in distant corridors. Metal screamed under pressure. Doors buckled outward, as if pushed by a wind that didn't exist. Varkil ran. His private shuttle bay was gone. Just gone. The entire wing replaced by obsidian stone, fused and rippling with symbols. The portal gate sparked and dissolved. The boy walked forward, alone, silent. Varkil backed away, trembling, tripping over his own robe. What is this? What are you? Alexei tilted his head. You should not have touched me. Above them, space folded. Unregistered energy signatures flared. No drive trails, no mass readings. Just presence. Something old had come to orbit. A small station nearby, the one Varkil had used to route his black market slaves, suddenly imploded. Not exploded, imploded. Pulled into a singularity the size of a needle and sealed in silence. Palace alarms triggered at last. Too late. In every chamber, every hallway, every screen, one name began repeating, whispered in every known language. Baba Yaga. The myth, the monster, the mother. One of the guards screamed, trying to flee. His body twisted in the air, joints snapping backward. No visible force touched him. His armor turned to rust and blew away as dust. Varkil felt his knees. It's not possible. She's a legend. She's not real. Alexei looked over his shoulder. She's coming. And from the shadows, something answered, not with words, with existence. The lights went out for good. The palace's last backup generator hummed. Then a whisper swept through the halls, a scream encoded in binary. The final security AI shut itself down rather than process what it saw. In the dark, metal twisted. Glass sang, and the moon began to bleed. Alexei closed his eyes. He was no longer afraid. The Luxari Empire didn't learn about the massacre for another 12 hours. When the orbital survey drones reached Lord Varkil's moon, they found only silence. The palace was gone. Not destroyed, missing. Where it once stood, there was now a crater fused into black crystal, covered in runes the scanners couldn't translate. Energy readings were off the charts. No life signs. No wreckage. Only a single message, etched in every known language on the crater wall. Return what is mine. A dozen analysts reviewed the feed. One recognized a phrasing from ancient Terran military files, long classified. The code matched a dormant black-flagged entity last seen centuries ago. The name Baba Yaga surfaced. Most in the Luxari Senate laughed it off. Superstition. Psychological warfare. Old human ghost stories meant to scare off young soldiers. But one senator, a former warlord, went pale. Seal the record, he said. If that name is real, we're already dead. 2 days later, Outpost 9 went silent. No distress signal. Just gone. When a retrieval team arrived, they found every being inside frozen solid mid-movement, in perfect poses, some halfway through screams. Others with hands raised in surrender. No marks on their bodies. No signs of struggle. One of them had written a single word in frost on the wall before dying, which, then Outpost 11 was found inverted, its entire structure folded inward like paper. Dozens of personnel were gone, their communications relays now filled with random static that, when analyzed, matched the wavelength of an old Earth lullaby. Whispers spread fast through the underworld. Slavers, raiders, traders who had ties to the auction began to vanish. Not die, vanish. Their ships were found drifting, empty, weapons untouched, power still active, but not a single trace of organic matter remained. And then the recording started showing up, footage of her, a silhouette walking calmly through sealed airlocks, doors opening before her, bodies falling behind her without a touch, drones glitching into pieces just by seeing her, AI systems self-destructing when detecting her presence. In one video, she stood still as an entire hallway twisted around her, metal groaning like a living thing. The Luxari military initiated Protocol Ashfall, a full blackout on all media connected to the incidents. Internally, however, they were in panic. They activated planetary defense shields across 3 core worlds. But it didn't stop her. A cargo hauler carrying classified tech, last known shipment of Terran biotech relics, was intercepted mid-warp. The entire crew was found seated in their chairs, hands folded, eyes burnt out from the inside. Carved into the hull, a warning. You sold my son. In the Luxari High Citadel, Admiral Zalvit paced before the gathered admirals. We are not dealing with a rogue assassin, he growled. This is something else. She doesn't use ships. She doesn't use drones. She doesn't follow rules. She is a concept wearing flesh. And she is hunting us. He played the only surviving footage from Varkel's estate. The boy, Alexei, standing alone in the throne hall. The static, the whisper, "You took my son." One admiral asked, "What do we know about her?" The room fell silent. A historian finally spoke. Baba Yaga was a Terran Deep Black operative, part of their pre-collapse Warborn initiative, enhanced with experimental neuropsionics and AI-bound thought forms. Her designation was erased. She was one of their first, possibly the first, successful post-human weapon. Another added, after the Terran government collapsed, she vanished. Rumor says she went into deep space. Others say she merged with quantum-bound AI and disappeared into myth. One file said she was seen walking alone on the surface of a dead star. She has no species, no ID, no origin, the historian concluded. Only one rule. What rule? Never harm her child. They tried to trace her through predictive models. Failed. They tried to bait her. Lost 3 cruisers. They tried to contain information. It leaked anyway. The story spread faster than any virus, across smugglers' dens, pirate fleets, border colonies. They spoke her name in hushed tones. Some began abandoning outposts. Others simply disappeared, choosing exile over attracting her wrath. Meanwhile, Alexei was alive. Footage recovered from a salvaged pirate ship showed the boy walking through a burning corridor, untouched by fire, calm as screaming slavers tried to flee. A woman's silhouette moved through the flames ahead of him, her form flickering like corrupted data. One pirate shot at the boy. The round froze midair, then reversed. His body burst from within. The last surviving pirate dropped his weapon and begged, "Please, I didn't know. Don't kill me." A voice whispered from the shadows, "I don't need to kill you." And he vanished, erased. Later, a single message appeared in Luxari command comms. 3 names left. Then I'll stop. They ran the list. 3 high-level officials had ties to the auction. One died that night, his ship found drifting in orbit around a neutron star. The next vanished inside a secure bunker 800 meters below ground. No breach detected. One name remained, Empress Valtari herself. The Empire raised all defenses. No one slept. On a moon base near the edge of Empire space, a technician spotted a strange fluctuation. No ship, no readings, just a presence. She whispered into the void, and systems across the Empire began to die. Not crash, not fail, just stop. Even the stars seemed dimmer. The child sat on a quiet rooftop on Forgotten Colony World, looking up at the sky. His lips didn't move, but his words echoed in the air. She's almost done. And when asked by the frightened caretaker, "Who is she?" he answered without blinking, "My mother." The Empress did not hide. She ordered her guard to full alert, summoned the most powerful psychics in the Empire, and reinforced the walls of her citadel with phase-locked neutronium. It wouldn't matter, but she didn't know that. Inside the capital world of Alexa Prime, everything shimmered under high alert. Orbital cannons tracked every particle. Psychic inhibitors blanketed the atmosphere. No unauthorized teleportation. No FTL warping within 10 light minutes. No shadows left unchecked. She sat on a throne of living stone, flanked by 100 elite guards, each one genetically perfected, armored in psi-reflective plating, connected to a hive mind kill net, unbreakable, unstoppable, and still, she flinched when the lights flickered. No alarms, no breach, just one moment. Light, next moment, shadow, then cold. One guard collapsed, blood frozen solid in his veins. Another screamed before his armor cracked open like an egg. The others moved into formation, locked shields, overlapping fields. And from the ceiling, a whisper bled downward like smoke. You were the last one. The Empress rose. You dare. But the air warped, space folded around her, and she saw her own death, not in vision, not prophecy, memory, a blade she'd never seen, piercing her heart, her breath catching, her empire burning in the reflection of her own pupils. No, she said, backing away. No, you can't exist. You're a myth. The shadows peeled apart. A woman stepped forward, pale skin like frost, eyes burning with a cold beyond light, hair that flowed like ink in water. No armor, no weapon, just presence. I am vengeance, Baba Yaga said. The Empress activated her psychic kill switch. Didn't matter. The guards attacked. Didn't matter. Each step Baba Yaga took made the walls scream. Reality bent with her presence. The very AI core of the palace wept static into every channel. The Empress tried one last command, kill the boy. But her words never reached the system. The command died in her throat. Not choked, silenced, because in that instant, her voice was no longer hers. The boy had spoken, and the system listened to him. Every light in the citadel died, and then Empress Valtari ceased to exist. No explosion, no spectacle. One blink. She was there. Next blink, gone. No blood, no ash, not even memory. Only one word remained in the minds of those who saw it. Paid. Across the empire, systems rebooted. Ships powered down. Fortresses fell silent, as if the war of the hunt was suddenly over. Everyone waited for the next strike, but nothing came, because vengeance was finished. A Luxari merchant ship passed into the Veil Belt, picked up a child's life signal days later. Alone, no ship, no equipment, just a boy sitting calmly on a drifting asteroid. They brought him aboard, hesitantly, scanned him. Nothing unusual. No psionic spikes, no implants. Just a human boy, healthy, quiet, staring. One crew member asked, "Are you him?" The boy shrugged. "She's gone now." And she was not dead, not defeated, just done, her task complete. Whispers tell of a shadow that walks through the quiet sectors, never speaking, never touching. Sometimes systems fail for no reason. Sometimes slavers vanish. No trace, just silence. Sometimes people claim to hear footsteps in the void. The Luxari Empire began its collapse within the year. Trade routes fell. Power struggles ignited. Fear ruled. No one wanted to claim leadership. No one wanted to attract her attention. The words Baba Yaga became forbidden in imperial speech codes. Her name was erased from historical records. Schools removed all references. AI scrubbers deleted her from every archive. But the people remembered, because you can't forget a nightmare that walked in daylight. Alexei, the boy one sold like cattle, was adopted quietly by a small Ternaline commune. He never spoke of what happened. He never aged like the others. And though no one dared ask, some noticed the shadows around him never quite followed physics. He didn't smile. He didn't cry. But he watched the stars. Always the stars. One night, he whispered into the sky, "Thank you." And across 10,000 systems, a momentary drop in temperature was recorded. Entire sensor arrays glitched in sync. Observatories in 7 species picked up a silhouette moving between galaxies, without ships, without mass. Some say she's still out there, not to protect him, but to make sure no one ever tries again. Because the galaxy had forgotten what it meant to take from humans without consequence. Now it remembers, not because of fleets, not because of diplomacy, because of a mother, a myth, a monster they thought didn't exist. And because when the last chain closed around her son's neck, she woke up. Years passed. The Luxari Empire, once the most dominant force in the Galactic Quadrant, fractured into warring factions and isolated systems. Fear had rotted it from within. No one dared claim the throne. Every power-hungry admiral, every ambitious senator remembered what had happened when one child was taken. Entire civilizations moved quietly when dealing with humans. Slavers who once traded openly in Terran offspring now avoided even the mention of Earth. In the darkest parts of the galaxy, the phrase "don't touch the fire" became synonymous with "don't provoke humanity," especially if a child was involved. Especially if you didn't know who their mother might be. The name Baba Yaga became more than myth. It became law. No official doctrine. No political statement. Just fear. Raw, evolutionary fear. And Alexei? He grew up far from it all, on a forgotten garden world tucked into a nebula-shrouded star cluster. He lived a quiet life with his adoptive family. The people who raised him didn't ask questions. He didn't give answers. But every now and then, someone would visit. Strangers who arrived without ships. Pilgrims, some called them. They never said her name, but they came to see him. And every one of them left changed. He was different now. Not dangerous. Not unstable. But watched, as if something vast and unknowable stood just behind his gaze, listening, waiting. One day, a woman from a human expansion corps visited the colony. A diplomat, traveling through border systems to document the psychological impact of the Luxari collapse. She interviewed Alexei, now in his late teens. Calm, measured, soft-spoken. "I was sold at auction," he said. They didn't know what that meant. "Do you remember it?" she asked. "Yes." "Do you remember what happened after?" He looked at her. Just once. And her recording device shut off by itself. She never asked again. Later, in her private notes, she wrote, "He didn't threaten me. He didn't boast. But I have never felt more watched in my life. Not by him, by something else. As if the stars themselves were waiting for me to speak out a turn. Others try to analyze him, watch him, monitor his dreams. All their devices broke. One scientist developed neural tumors after spending 6 hours reviewing raw footage of Alexei's biological scans. The footage had no anomaly, but every frame had her in the reflection, not visibly, but mathematically. Her signature was embedded in the light. The human Terran assembly quickly sealed the colony. Strategic Cultural Preservation Zone, they called it, but every soldier stationed nearby knew the real reason. Keep him safe. Not to protect him, to protect everyone else. Because if he was harmed again, if anything happened to him, she'd come back. And this time, she wouldn't stop at 3. Elsewhere in the galaxy, others tested the boundaries. New empires rose. New slaver networks emerged in the outer rings. But they were careful, very careful. Only non-human targets. Never Terrans, never children. And even then, their stations were layered with prayers, no psionic dampeners, and ancient Terran symbology copied from old Earth religious scripts. They didn't believe in her, but they didn't want to be wrong. Then came the Skarn insurgency, a brutal uprising in a lawless sector where Terran settlers had recently arrived. Skarn warlords struck quickly, took over a mining colony and enslaved every inhabitant. Among them, a child. Human. No one knew the name. Didn't matter. 3 days later, every Skarn ship within 10 light years was found hollowed out. Shells drifting in space. Entire crews erased without damage to the hulls. The main war camp? Gone. Not destroyed. Just gone. A crater was left behind, its edges perfectly smooth. And in its center, a small hand-carved wooden doll. Slavic in origin. No message. No symbols. Just a doll. And that was enough. The slaver markets in 3 sectors shut down that day. Voluntarily. No raids. No threats. They simply closed and never reopened. The universe had learned. You can fight nations. You can challenge fleets. You can gamble with warlords. But not her, because she wasn't a weapon. She wasn't a soldier. She was a mother, and that made her something far worse than any superweapon ever built. She was grief sharpened into purpose. She was vengeance distilled into myth. She was a promise the universe forgot Earth had made a long time ago. We will burn worlds to protect our own. And if it took one woman, one ghost, one mother, then that's all it would take. In the end, she didn't have to keep killing. The idea of her did the work. Galactic law was changed. New treaties were written. Every major power ratified protection clause. No human child shall be harmed, displaced, or sold under any circumstance. Not because of ethics. Not because of empathy. Because they were terrified. And because they remembered. Back on the quiet garden world, Alexei walked through a field of bluegrass under twin suns. He smiled once, faintly, as the wind shifted. Far above, in orbit, sensors flickered for exactly 1 second. A shape, a presence, then gone. But he knew she was watching. Always. Not from rage anymore. Not from grief. But from love. The kind of love that didn't forget. The kind of love that wrote laws into the bones of the stars. The kind of love only a human mother could have. And the galaxy would never cross that line again. Not ever. Because the last time it did, it woke the Baba Yaga. And Earth never needed to lift a finger. Because she had already spoken. And her word was final.